The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the advertisers, owners, or management of Pacific Telestations, LLC. For comments, opinions, and questions, please email Jess Lujan at jessthebuzz@gmail.com. The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Tonight we'll be talking about cancer. We've got a cancer survivor here. Of course, we've got a volunteer. We have Kathy Castro, who's a volunteer with the American Cancer Society, as well as Anna Estacio, who's a breast cancer survivor. Good evening, ladies. How you doing?
Hi. Half a day. Hey. Good evening. Thank you for having us.
You're not only a volunteer, but you're a mom of a cancer patient.
Yes, I am.
Yep.
Yes.
Tell us your story, please.
My story is the fact that my son Andre was diagnosed with cancer in the spine, and when he was first diagnosed, we had to medevac him to the mainland. And when he was medevac, we were told that the only treatment available for his specific type of cancer was surgery. He underwent surgery, and unfortunately, due to complications, the surgery wasn't successful, so the tumor wasn't removed. We were told to bring him back in a couple years when his heart was stronger, but at that time we were given a time frame of about 4 years for his life because there was no treatment available on the market for him other than the surgery.
How old was he then?
He was not even 21.
Okay.
Excuse me. And so we took him home, and it took us 2 years to be able to get to take him back to the mainland. And at that time, when we took him back, we went and saw a doctor, and we were told, once again, surgery was not an option. And my son at that time didn't, because the probability of him surviving it was very low, and he didn't want to go and proceed with the surgery. One of the social workers at the hospital there recommended that I contact the American Cancer Society, see what services and what was available for him, which I did. And at that time, they referred us to the City of Hope in Duarte, California. We met with a team of surgeons there, and a neurosurgeon mentioned to us there was a new drug on the market that possibly might help him. And as I say to a lot of people, when you're a mom and you're told there's nothing that they can do, and then they tell you there's something that might help, let me tell you, for me, that was hope, and that was it was a life-changing experience. So my son began treatment with a specific medication, and as he was undergoing treatment, this OCD mom started doing research on everything to find out that this drug was a product of the research done by the American Cancer Society. And I was just so elated, I was thrilled, and I was excited because someone was looking for a cure. Then, unfortunately, the drug did not do well with him, and he had to come off it. But even at that, we weren't discouraged because of the fact that, in the process, all that time, one drug was found. That means someone else was still looking, still looking for medication and looking for a cure. And in the process of looking for a cure, they continually find diagnostics, medication, and treatment to help my son and other cancer patients. So we came home, and a year later, we went back, and then another drug came on the market. And once again, and he has been on this chemotherapy treatment for the last several years. And I need to share that in the very beginning, when there was no treatment, no drug, he was given 4 years. And because of the research done by the American Cancer Society, come August, my son will be in his 7th year of, of his cancer diagnosis. And so that gave me 3 more years with him. And who knows, maybe tomorrow, another medication will come, or the cure will be found for his type of cancer. And so every dollar that they raise is important and goes not just to all the programs for the American Cancer Society, but to research too. And ACS is the second biggest contributor to research funding in the U.S. The federal government is #1. So to know that, and they're the only ones in Guam that contribute to research. And please, don't get me wrong, because all the other organizations that provide services
Sure.
is very important, because I
Sure.
know we access it, whether it was assistance for medication or direct financial assistance. That is important
Sure.
and critical, because every cancer patient has needs. But to know that someone is out there
Sure.
looking for a cure, and in the process finding treatment, medication, and diagnostic, that's a hope that not many cancer patients think of until
And it's ongoing. And
absolutely
it's ongoing.
until
Yeah.
after you're finished with
Sure,
chemo, and it's
sure.
like, where do I go from here?
Sure, sure.
But just know that there's
Sure.
someone doing the research,
sure.
and it's really important, you know.
Yeah.
So this is why I do what I do, not just for my son, but for all other cancer patients. You know, because it gave me hope, gave me my son back.
Yeah, and again, you're the mom. Anna, you're a survivor.
Yes, sir.
Your story.
Back in March 2014, I was getting ready for work one morning, and I felt a lump on my left breast. And for the first time to feel that, it was pretty sizable. And
It wasn't painful.
it wasn't painful. I wasn't having any discharge. I wasn't having any symptoms, but it was a quite sizable lump, like a golf ball size to be exact. And so I went to my provider, and I brought it to her attention, and she felt that I should get a mammogram, and as soon as possible. Now, I'm in the Army Reserve.
Sure,
I'm
sure.
going on 27 years,
Sure.
and so every year I do get tested, and I was coming close to the time I was due for this mammogram. So I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking cancer.
Sure.
That's like the last thing on my mind.
Not
So,
you, of course
no.
not, yeah.
I'm healthy
Yeah,
and
sure,
right.
sure.
I'm only 42. So I had my mammogram, and the day of the mammogram, the technician really encouraged me to do a biopsy as soon as possible. They knew I was going off island for military training, so I did. And they asked me, am I sure I can go off island for my training? And I was very insistent I do. So while I was off island in Hawaii for my military training, I got a call from the doctor that I did have cancer. So it was just like the movies. Everything just went tone deaf. The room started spinning, and I'm just.
This is a bad dream.
It's a bad
yeah,
dream.
yeah.
And I believe for that week I was on military training. I was only getting 1 to 2 hours of sleep. I felt really alone. My family was on Guam. I was up researching on the internet like her,
Sure,
reading
sure.
anything and everything. And the sad thing is, both of my parents are cancer survivors. So my mom's a breast cancer and a colon cancer survivor. My father is a prostate cancer survivor. But they were very private.
Sure,
So we
sure.
didn't really
Share.
experience
Yeah,
the journey with
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I wasn't really knowledgeable. So long story short, I was lucky to be off island and meet with the oncologist team and get information and come up with a plan. But as soon as I came home, I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah, yeah.
So thanks to my mom, she's like, you know what, we need to go down to the American Cancer Society. I didn't even know that they had provided support and assistance to my mom. So she did. We went down there together. She introduced me to Marisha Artero, and everything just fell into place. I was very blessed.
And how far back was that, or how long ago was that?
That was March 2014.
Oh, this is
So I began chemotherapy immediately. I did about 6 months, and then I had a very favorable response to the chemotherapy.
that's
So
good,
it
that's
shrank the cancer completely, and I ended up doing a lumpectomy, and then 33 sessions of radiation, all in Hawaii. And then I came back home and I continued with some chemotherapy until April 2015.
In 15.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're in what they call remission period at this point?
Well, my doctor really didn't like to say remission
Sure,
or cancer-free.
yeah.
He just
Sure,
says you're
sure.
a survivor.
You're a survivor.
You're a survivor.
And that's great to hear that, because again, we, you know, as Kathy said years back, it was a sentence that, it was a thing that you were sentenced
Yeah.
pretty much. But we've come a long ways. We've come a long ways, especially, and you're very lucky you had access, great access to medical care. And, you know, imagine the folks who don't.
Right.
And that's where, of course, the American Cancer Society comes in and,
Definitely,
and
definitely.
provides you that, again, that entity to be able to do that. So 2004, your diagnosis, you had a lumpectomy, you say?
Lumpectomy, 2014.
2014, yeah. And both your parents are survivors.
Yes.
Yeah. Was again with cancer, do they say it's genetically, environmentally, a little bit of both?
A little bit of
Yeah,
both.
yeah.
And, you know, it all depends. The doctors do recommend that if your family members have cancer, that you be a little more diligent. But one of the things that we do promote with the American Cancer Society is you know your body best.
Sure,
You
sure.
know when something's not right. And when you begin to question something with your body, your doctor is your best friend. You know, be honest, be upfront, and go see your doctor. And because early detection saves lives.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
and so let yourself be your best, your first friend. Know your body best, and know when something's not right, something's different.
Great. And again, you went to the American Cancer Society
Yes.
for information, and obviously you got the information that you were looking for, yeah?
And much more.
And much more, yeah.
I was about to say, because you did mention I was very lucky that I had that medical access right
Sure,
away. But
sure.
you know, when you're first diagnosed and you're meeting with all the providers and the nurses,
That's the last thing.
there's so much going through your
Sure,
mind. It's
sure.
overwhelming. And then they are also on a
Sure,
schedule.
sure.
They have other patients they're trying to squeeze
Sure,
in.
sure.
So when you go down to the American Cancer Society, you have that time. They sit there and they have
have the
that time.
understanding,
Yes,
yeah.
and they answer whatever questions. And for someone like me, who I thought I was always organized
Sure,
and
sure.
OCD, I'm like, where do I start? And just so happens they have this on the table. It's called a personal health manager. And Marisha had given me one of these, which I
Sure,
still
sure.
use 2
Yeah,
years
yeah,
later.
yeah.
And it was just the basics, just simple things like your lab work, your bills, your any important documents during your journey. So
Yeah.
it really kept me organized
Yeah.
and just kind of gave me some kind of peace of mind.
It kind of, I mean, because, you know, when you hear that, I mean, I know my parents, when we heard that, I mean, our world just turned upside down, inside out. You don't know if you're coming or going. You want to wake up from this nightmare, and you realize, no, pinch me. Am I living this or what?
And every
it's just
time you're told something from the
Yeah,
doctor,
yeah.
it's like you're back to square one again. And it's,
Absolutely.
you know, trying to process everything.
yeah.
The one thing with the American Cancer Society is whether you have insurance or not, it doesn't matter. You know, you come in and you access services
Yeah.
with them. Come in and register, and they will help you to the best of their ability. With or without insurance, it makes no difference to them.
We're going to take a quick break. Anna, thank you very much for sharing your story. When we come back, we're going to talk to the American Cancer Society themselves when we come back and the research. Be right back.